Howdy, guys. I think y'all are out there. I hope y'all are out there. I hope I'm out there. I see a lot of people. Hey, Chicky D, Cindy, Angie, Carl, all you guys. Amanda, Valerie, Kate. Wow. Welcome. Monday. All right, I'm going to have to pull mine up as well. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. Hey, before we even get let me do this, as I always do when I start. SKD 143. I love my wife, I love my kids, and I love all my fellow Big Brother fans. Welcome aboard. You're out here, so I guess you survived Friday the 13th. We're starting another week, and so glad y'all are starting it with me. So welcome aboard. For those of you who are new, who found me out here on YouTube, this is episode number 3 since I migrated over from the TV Co-app. So thank y'all. For those of you who've seen the last couple episodes, thank you for coming back. I appreciate that as well. Now, I got a little request for help before we even get started this evening. Well, I guess we kind of already started, but before I get going into other things, last episode, or I guess the episode before, my audio was kind of acting up. Sounded like I was talking in a tin can and such. So I've got a new lapel mic, and I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts if this is working better or worse. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay. If you can't, we'll figure something else out. But I'm trying to improve every single episode, just as we all do through life, right? So let me know how the sound is working. Y'all can hear me, right? Hope so. If not, well then, it's all right. You know what? I'd still talk anyway. Of course, I'd have to do. Okay, it sounds good. I had to turn mine up to see. If not, I would have just done a little sign language. I thank you. Parker, I see that. Carl, thank you. Cindy, good. Thank you. So maybe I've got it figured out. You know what? I actually took a sign language class once right after college. All I remember is I know how to sign my name. CLIFFHOGG. I know I love you. I know. Thank you. So I know a few little words here and there. So cool that we've got a language that lets people do that. I've always wondered, it's American Sign Language. Does that mean if I went to Mexico or if I went to Germany or somewhere like that, do you have to learn a new kind of sign language? Is every sign language different for English, German, Spanish? You'd think it could all just be the same, right? But I don't know. Maybe maybe someone that knows more than I could tell me about that. Because it would make sense that how cool it would be if you could go anywhere in the world and talk to anyone else who may be hard of hearing, who knew sign language, regardless of their core language. Just thought for the day, thought of your consideration, right? But anyway, all right. Thank y'all for the sound check. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny. Y'all never saw it on the Big Brother show, but we had to wear those microphones all the time. And before we ever went in the house, we got instructions on how to wear the microphones, how to change it. We had to change out our microphone batteries every single morning. You weren't allowed to change out anyone else's. Everyone had to do it themselves just to make sure there wasn't any confusion of a battery getting switched and you didn't know about it and then you switched it again and everything. But we wore those high-tech microphones, and they always told us little directions like you should put your thumb on your chin, put your hand down, and where your little finger ended, that's about how far away your microphone needed to be for sound and all of that. Whenever we did the live show, before we actually went live, we would all go around, do testing, 1, 2, 3, everything you expect, and they'd test our volumes and everything. And some of the women in the house, it used to drive them crazy because any kind of necklace or anything like that banging against the microphones would make all kinds of noise, and so they would have to adjust it down or take off necklaces, do things like that. So, but yeah. Those microphones in that house, we were always told. Y'all remember, was it Shamia that threw her microphone in the swimming pool or the hot tub one time? She got mad, kind of justifiable reasons that she got mad. Got her HOH taken away from her with some special twist and everything. But anyway, she threw it in the hot tub or the swimming pool and ended up getting booted from the show as a result. I think those microphones were high dollar items that we used to wear in that house that were designed to pick up anything and everything, as we all learned. But anyway, I'm off on a tangent. I hadn't even planned to talk about that, but just started thinking about the microphones and such. So welcome to Monday. Now, I always try to talk about this day in history or national whatever day. Got some good ones today. Y'all, yeah, that'd be difficult wearing a microphone 24/7. Molly, it's incredibly, you get used to it though. Within about the first 12, 24 hours in a house, you kind of get used to it. Now, that is a reason I think that we didn't have live feeds for the first week when we were in the house, was just to get us used to having those microphones on. So some of the people whose language was, we'll call it a little more salty than others in that house, and there were a few people who could curse up a storm in there, so they could tone it down just a little bit. Of course, you watch live feeds and you think, is that toned down based on some of the conversations that happen? It's not me. Put me out in the oil field on an oil rig, and you'll hear a little bit of cursing. You'll hear a lot of cursing from me as well. But normally, I keep it in check. I'm a family guy. I've learned to keep it in check a long time ago. The one time in the house, who's that? So Australia has a different one called. All right, let's see. Australia has a different one called Aslan. There's a different one for different countries. There's a children's show in the UK called Something Special, hosted by a person named Justin Fletcher. Well, thank you, Parker. See, you learn something new every day using a sign language called Makaton. All right. Now I learned something new every day. But I kind of was holding out hope that I could go anywhere in the world, and if I knew sign language, then you could communicate. These languages, let's go back to Babel. I'll reconnect that. I wish we all spoke the same language. How cool would it be? I love traveling around the world, and I got to say, when I go to countries where I actually speak the language, like South America and such, I just feel so much more confident than if I go somewhere. When I was in China, I ate at a restaurant in Beijing. They didn't have a menu in English. There wasn't a word of English in that place, and I was by myself, and I would eat there most days for lunch while I was working on a project, because it was near where the office was I was working. So I would just go in and I would randomly point at a menu item. Didn't know what it was. All I knew is it was going to come with noodles, because everything in Beijing has noodles. It would come with noodles, and it would come with some assorted vegetable or beef or something. I didn't ask him too many questions either, but it's fantastic. I loved eating in Beijing. But yeah, I've always thought, how cool would it be to speak Chinese or Chinese or Russian or some other languages. Would be kind of fun to do. But anyway, all right, let's see. Russian Sign Language is very interesting. I bet it is, Megan. All right. I'm talking all over kinds of stuff. All right, so anyway, as I said, we got a couple of special days today. First of all, this one hits near and dear to my heart. Today is National Fast Food Day. Yes, indeed. So all of y'all who haven't gone out and gotten your burger yet, have fun with it. I personally am still quarantining. We're trying to stay indoors as much as we have. I mean, COVID's getting bad down here in Texas again. So all of y'all everywhere else, whether you're staying indoors, whether you're getting out, either way, social distance, stay safe, because Thanksgiving coming up, I would like to think that a lot of families aren't suddenly getting together and spreading it to each other. So this week, everyone stay away from everyone else. Make sure that when you go celebrate the holidays, if you're going to do that you stay separate and apart. You don't have to hug your great Aunt Bess or whatever. You can just say, hey, fist bump your aunt and do things like that. But yeah, so as a result, it's hard to imagine. Angie says, I can speak basic Chinese. Does that mean Mandarin or Cantonese, or when you're talking basic, or are they one and the same? I guess they're still different, huh? My Mandarin Chinese consists of ni hao and shusha, thank you and hello, and that's about as far as it goes for me. David Mana saying, Whataburger for the win, #1 here in Texas. Oh my gosh, yes indeed. And it's been so difficult for those, and I know not everyone is still quarantining the way we were earlier, but my wife and I, we've been staying indoors. We've been avoiding restaurants and everything, and that includes fast food restaurants. It has now been 8 months since I was inside a fast food restaurant. 8 months since I've gone inside and eaten a Whataburger. You talk about withdrawal. That's been a little bit tough. I thought it was going to be hard last year when I was inside the Big Brother house, and for 3 months, the only food I had to eat was what we personally cooked. And it was good food. You just get a little tired of it after a while. But 3 months is nothing compared to what I've been going through now. When we decide to break our quarantines and we go out and hit the fast food, I'm going to be stocking up. Hey, Whataburger I may need to call ahead and make sure they got enough buns and burgers and everything else, because I may be ordering extra for a few days ahead of time. It's so funny. I don't think I've talked about it on here. David Hamlin saying I like Griff's. Oh, and Angie's saying Cantonese. All right, we'll see. Yeah. Like if you spoke Mandarin, suddenly we'd be able to talk in Chinese anyway. But that's cool. Cantonese is, I think, what they speak in Hong Kong, isn't it? And then Mandarin is more Beijing in that area, I think. David saying I like Griff's. I've eaten at Griff's just once or twice, but I really don't know that much about them. But I was going to tell you, the day I was evicted on my season, day 93, remember that day forever. But the day I was evicted, I think I've told you, once you're on a live show, as soon as you get done, you spend just a little time talking to psychologists, producers, things like that. And then they take you to the sequester location. Well, on the way there, I asked my little handler driver person, I said, what are the chances that we can just go through a McDonald's and load me up on some burgers and such? Because I'm really... if I'm maybe stuck in a hotel room for the next week, I'd like to have me some burgers to go with it. And I was told, no, we can't have you communicating with anyone. You're going straight to your sequester location instead. But once I got there, I was told, hey, if you want something to eat, just let us know if you have anything in particular. I said, yeah, how about some McDonald's? Now, if they had Whataburgers in California, it would have been a different conversation. But, beggars can't be choosers. So I said, how about some McDonald's? And they said, yeah, Cliff, we'll get you taken care of. Tell us, what would you like? And I said, well, I don't know. How about everything? How about a little bit of everything? So I said, sure, we can take care of that. So I ended up with a couple of burgers, some chicken nuggets, a fish sandwich, and a big old chocolate milkshake that was so good. I didn't want to be evicted. I still would have rather been in the house. But if I was out, I was at least going to spend that first night enjoying the finer things in life, like a McDonald's hamburger. And I laugh about that. But what's funny? When I travel overseas, as much as I enjoy eating the local food, I mentioned Beijing, eating the restaurant food every single day and how much I loved it. There's still something to be said. Every once in a while, I would just go find the local McDonald's and go in there and order. And just knowing that you could get something that tastes exactly like you get back home, it meant a lot. It was kind of my little, when I was feeling a little homesick, I can always go get McDonald's and just feel like I'm getting a taste of home most of the time. I've had McDonald's in Moscow, which took forever to order. They talk about language barriers, a little tough in Russia. Beijing, Azerbaijan, all kinds of places. So anyway, Cindy Hire should have gotten the In-N-Out burger. There is nothing against the In-N-Out burger. I prefer Whataburger. Yeah, I'm Texan. I got to be that way, Cindy, right? But having said that, first In-N-Out burger I ever had when I was in San Diego. I was doing some calls in Mexicali, which is just across the border in Mexico for Pemex Oil Company. But while I was there, I saw In-N-Out in San Diego. I said, all right, got to try it out. So I got a double animal style, I think is what it was. Pretty good. I'm not complaining too much. You don't have the variety of choices that you do with the Whataburger, but it's still pretty good. Yeah, animal style, David. I love that one. But anyway, and who's that? Angie saying Mickey D's fries are the best. The In-N-Out burger fries are kind of but I agree with you on the McDonald's fries. I stay away from those because it's like Pringles. You can't just eat one fry. You can't just eat a couple of fries. For a while there, I'd get the little small size fries, but it just leaves you wanting more. So it's easier just to not even taste them and just pretend like they aren't there. And at least it's better for the old body and everything else. Caden, do you play Animal Crossing? My mom loves it. You know what? I've never played that. I see people talking about it all the time. There's not enough hours in the day. I'm afraid if I start playing that game, it's just one more reason for me to be on my phone, and I'm already on it too much. I started playing Among Us, and I'm not that good. There's people a lot better than I, but even that, it doesn't take long for me to get preoccupied on my phone once again with something else. So now I'm staying away from Animal Crossing because I'm afraid I'll enjoy it too much, and then I've, I don't have hours in the day anyway, so I need to avoid it. Cindy, I'm sorry, no Whataburger close to you in North Carolina. Well, we got to work this out. Hey, maybe they can expand. I think they're talking about moving up and out and everything else. So that'd be fun. And Amanda Lowe saying Five Guys. Yeah, I don't have any problem with Five Guys. Yeah, y'all could tell by my answers. There's not a whole lot of burger joints that I have many problems with whatsoever. I like them all. Oh, Cindy saying, "What's Among Us?" You need to be asking the younger folks that, Cindy, because I just barely know. I saw people. I know Nicole was playing it online, and some other people were playing it. So I downloaded it from my phone, and a bunch of little creatures, space on a spaceship running around. There's like one or two imposters. They're trying to sabotage everyone else, and you're trying to figure out who the imposter is before they either kill everyone or they destroy the ship. It's addictive for such a kind of basic, simple game. Crosstracks. You ever try Culver's? I've never heard of Culver's Crosstrack, so I'll put that on the list. All right. So anyway, National Fast Food Day. So all of you who can go out and enjoy. For those of you who can't, it'll be here before you know it. We're gonna get rid of this COVID, and then we'll be back out and eating all the food I shouldn't be eating, but I'll enjoy every single minute. Hey, I'm running. I started running again last week, so theoretically I could go eat a little burger, right? I mean, and now I may only be able to eat just one or two French fries based on the amount I'm running, but I'll ramp up. Eventually I'll be able to justify the occasional splurge on fast food if I can do it. Lori Lyon says, I don't think there are any Whataburgers in Illinois either. Well, give it time. They're taking over the country. Before you know it, there'll be one on every. You think there's a lot of Starbucks? Wait until you got a Whataburger at every corner. Maybe not quite that many, but hey, you get Whataburger and Chick-fil-A. I think a couple of the places we got down here could do pretty well everywhere. And Chicky D Kenny's saying yes, running. Yeah, it's I started last week. I've run every other night. I'm only running 2 miles. I'm running super slow. I'm having to build back up. It's not like I was up to 4 or 5 miles before Big Brother came on, and then suddenly my life was occupied cheering on David and Nicole Anthony, and I stopped running. And so now I'm just having to slowly ramp back up again. And I'm not pushing it too hard, but it's nice getting back out in the streets and just getting in the nighttime air and all of that. So thank you. I need all the motivation I can get because most nights I don't really want to do it. I have to force myself. But when I get through with the run, I always feel so proud of myself. And I'm always happy I did it. A little sore, but always happy. So yeah, give me all the motivation or encouragement y'all can, because I absolutely need that. Austin C, I didn't mean to say Big Brother over the top. I may have missed your comment, Austin. If I missed anyone else's, please repeat it, because I didn't mean to. But talk about that. We are talking about Celebrity Big Brother is coming up. And I haven't heard anything. Molly asked that as well. Sorry, Molly. I'm trying to follow these things on. Yeah, I haven't heard anything new. I heard just a little bit of discussion about Celebrity Big Brother. And I think we talked last week just about a couple of people I'd love to see on the show, like Neil Patrick Harris would be kind of fun, and a few others. But Mike Tyson was another name I heard bounced around. But I haven't heard anything new about it, so maybe that'll come up pretty quick. Now, I do know for Angie and any other of my Canadian friends that are up in that neck of the woods, I think the deadline for Big Brother 9 for Canada, I think it's on Friday. So if you haven't done so already, get your tape in and tape. I guess they don't even do tapes anymore. If you send in a VCR tape, they probably don't even have a VCR up there anymore. But film or record, I don't even know the proper term now, record your audition and get it up to Canada if you're eligible to be on that show. I felt so bad last season, Big Brother 8, they had to shut the thing down halfway through because of COVID. The people in that house, it's so rough. They never got really a chance to play the game. I would love to see a lot of them, Hira and Sheldon and Vanessa, a few of the people in there. I'd love to see them get to play the game again in some form or manner and get another shot at it, because it's just so unfortunate that they weren't able to play it all the way through because of circumstances. That was tough. That was tough watching them being told that the world was having issues around them and they were just going to have to shut it down. Chicky D saying, the soreness or your muscles growing stronger? Well, I hope so. If so, I'm going to be a freaking beast by the time we get done, because I could barely make it up the stairs occasionally. So if that's a good thing, then I'm going to look like old Arnold Schwarzenegger within just a short few weeks. Probably not. But hey, I do it enough. Maybe I can give Jackson Mickey a run for his money one of these days in some different strength competitions. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, So what else? All right, now the other thing I was going to tell you about, I talked about National Fast Food Day. One more little event I want to talk about on this day in history. And this is abstract, and I know y'all are going to say, where in the heck does he come up with this stuff? Did y'all know that the teddy bear was basically created on this day in 1902? Oh, yes, indeed. And let me tell you the backstory. Now, for the rest of the story, y'all are probably too young to remember that particular Paul Harvey guy. But anyway, 1902, Teddy Roosevelt, our president, he goes to Mississippi to go hunting for black bears when they still had black bears in Mississippi. And probably they don't have them now because they did too much hunting of them. But he went hunting for black bears in Mississippi. He was with the governor of the state. Apparently, most of the hunters had found black bears except for Teddy Roosevelt, who just struck out. And he was a big game hunter. You know, he did all kinds of hunting out west. So a few people trying to help out captured a black bear. They tied it to a tree. They brought President Roosevelt over and said, here you go, shoot the bear, so you've got one as well. Well, he looked over that bear and said, yeah, you know, I'm not going to shoot a bear that's just tied up. That's unsportsmanlike. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm not shooting a bear that y'all got tied to a tree, so just let it go. I'm not going to do it. Well, apparently the whole nation found out about it. A political cartoonist just a day or two later, November 16th of 1902, published a cartoon showing Roosevelt pointing at the bear and saying, this is where I draw the line. No. And it became a huge hit. Everyone around the nation started talking about President Roosevelt refusing to kill this helpless bear. And at that point in time, a guy who owned a candy shop in New York decided he was going to take advantage of Teddy Roosevelt not hurting this bear. So he sold in his candy shop little stuffed bears. And he took one of them, filled it up with some candy and everything, and started selling it as a teddy bear in honor of Teddy Roosevelt. And everyone liked it so much, he sold out the whole store. People were wanting new products. He created a whole new toy company just to sell teddy bears. He actually had to get permission from Teddy Roosevelt to do it, and Teddy Roosevelt gave him permission. And so he started selling teddy bears. And this was based in 1902, and the rest is history. Now we got teddy bears everywhere. So that happened in 1902. On November 16th, we saw the cartoon published. So for those of you who are looking for incredibly random facts that you can go tell your family and friends, you got one now. You're welcome. I saw that. You never know when that kind of trivia may come in handy. Hey, one of us are going to go, myself or someone watching this show may go on Jeopardy one day. And if you were asked a question about when did the teddy bear come into play, and you say 1902, give me a shout out. Let me know, because I'm going to be so happy that it actually paid off, that little discussion. All right. Let's see. Let me look at some of these comments because I was so busy talking, I wasn't even looking at them. I would have thought longer ago for teddies, but now I remember learning this in school. So there you go, Crosstrack. Well, who knows what we learn in school? Parker Odell, who do you think will be on CBS Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother 3? I don't know. Darryl Strawberry would be interesting. I haven't heard much from Darryl Strawberry for a while. He had his issues with his addictions and all that, and I have anything else. Herschel Walker would be very interesting. He'd be very interesting as well. I mentioned Mike Tyson, Neil Patrick Harris. There's a few others I've heard, and I just can't think of right now. You know, there's a part of me that doesn't really care. As long as you get kind of people that are going to create some drama and everything in the house, it's always fun. It's always cool. Crosstrack, I just heard today that you canceled going to Give the Kids the World a Village. Wow. All right, Crosstrack, that news travels incredibly fast. I just sent the notification over the weekend and said, as much as I want to go, because of COVID and Florida's having issues just like Houston is. I don't want to potentially bring it back and spread it to my loved ones. But I also, if I'm in an airport or somewhere else, I don't want to pick it up and give it to someone who is going to that event and trying to go for, to help these kids out and everything else. And then turn around and pick something up because I was there as well. So it was a horrible decision. This was supposed to take place in August, and I was so gung-ho to do it. And then they had to cancel it because of the pandemic and all, and reschedule it for December. And I've spent the last month or two just saying, oh, please get better so I can go do this thing. I already had my plane tickets purchased and everything taken care of. And I just couldn't in good faith go because it just doesn't seem like it's getting better. So yes, Crosstrack, I'm so incredibly disappointed. It's horrible. I'm already trying to figure out different ways I can do some fundraising for Give the Kids World Village instead, because it's such an amazing charity. And I told the founders, I said, I can't do it. Please understand. But when you do it next August, then I'm going to be there a day or two before it even starts. I'll be there a day or two after it ends, because all I want to do is just come and hang out and do some things to help out. So yeah, this is yet another disappointment, yet another just 2020 putting the screws to you, right? But eventually we'll be over it, and then it'll just make it that much sweeter. Now here's the deal. I can't do it. It kills me. I hate it. I hate it so much. I wanted to go so bad. But if we do it next summer, which I'm sure we will, we're going to have a whole new cast of Big Brother contestants, Big Brother 23. Hint, hint, for anyone who's interested, the apps have already opened up. So by the time that happens, we'll probably have some people who have been evicted. So they'll be showing up, and I'll be able to go out there and talk to them and give them some thoughts and advice, and be the old, wiser person who's spent a whole year since they've done it kind of deal. But no, so at least I'll be able to meet some of the Big Brother 23 people next summer. But yeah, Crosstrack, thank you for mentioning that. But I hate it. Oh, I'm so disappointed in it, but I just couldn't do it. Monica Baca saying, hi, just take your time, enjoy your runs. I can't run due to back injury. But if I was cleared to start walking, oh yeah, but I was cleared to start walking. Hey, as long as you're moving your feet, and you don't have to move your feet. I know I've got relatives and everything who really probably shouldn't even be walking. But that doesn't mean you can't even do some things with your arms and raise your hand, anything to get the old body moving, the heart pumping a little bit. Seems like a good thing to do. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm trying to, I intentionally don't pay I don't ever stand on a scale. I'd love to be in a little bit better, weight loss and all, but I don't stand on a scale. I try not to pay a lot of attention to my pace or anything while I'm running. I'm just running to get my heart rate up, and I figure everything else will fall into place as long as I do that. All right, let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm going to try to catch up again on all this. Amanda said, I've been watching videos of Big Brother. Just watched the one where you hid from Nicole and the clowns were in the mirror. So funny. All right, Amanda, that was that was during prank week, and the first clown showed up while I was washing a mug in the sink. I didn't see the clown. No idea whatsoever. But for whatever reason, the one time the entire season where I broke a glass was that particular time while I was in the sink, and it just slipped out of my hands. And when it slipped and I said, whatever I said, people looked over there, and there's a clown right there in my face. And I hear the screaming and hollering. And then we spent the rest of the night doing that. Yeah, Nicole was not a fan of those clowns. I felt bad afterwards. That maybe it was more serious than because we were just playing around. But yeah, it turns out she was fine with it. But she and I did sit in the RV room that night, and there were some mean clowns. These weren't clowns just saying, hey. These are clowns that were showing up and doing the mean, violent kind of looking clowns. They were trying to really scare us. So Nicole and I sat in there for a while. I think I ended up sleeping in the RV room that night just so she wouldn't be here by herself in that particular room in case the clowns showed back up. So yeah, we had clowns show up everywhere, and they were, even though it's just part of prank week and all, they're still kind of creepy clowns. So that was a fun week. Kind of a fun week. That's also the week that we were throwing the pies in each other's face, which was fun. And I've told the story before, but the whipped cream we used would just get everywhere. It would get up in your nose and on your skin, and then it would sour within a few hours. And before long, that whole house smelled like nothing but curdled sour milk. There was no way to get the smell gone. It got to the point that when I won HOH, as part of my HOH basket, I got some body lotions, body wash, things like that. And I was taking a little bit and putting it right up underneath my nose just to keep the smell of that whipped cream from just permeating everything, because it was so miserable. And I was thinking about that while I was watching Amazing Race last Wednesday. I don't know how many of y'all are watching. I love it. I'm doing recaps every Thursday morning on the Amazing Race episodes. But the last episodes, and I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but I'll just say that one part you had to take heavy cream, whip it up into a whipped cream, fill up 4 pies, and then carry it in and deliver it onto a table. As you walked into this little tent where you had to deliver it, people were throwing pies at the racers, hitting them from all directions, just getting whipped cream all over them. And all I could think about was my season in Big Brother. It brought back a lot of memories. That was a fun week. I'm not complaining, even though it smelled horrible. And the cleanup was miserable. You could not clean that stuff up. It was just always still slippery and just miserable. Eventually, we got extra cleaners in there to try to help get some of that stuff up. But I got to say, waking Tommy up in the middle of the night and hitting him in the face with a pie while he was sound asleep, kind of fun. We got to take out a little bit of aggression that particular week. So we had a blast. They got Nicole, Nicole got Nick and got Mickey a few times. It was a lot of fun. Mitch Hammond saying, let's see, Mitch saying they should have Big Brother for people over 50. I'm game. Yeah, it'd be a little different, a little bit different type situations if everyone in that house has family and friends, a little more years on them. Challenges would be, competitions have to be a little bit different. Maybe not so much of the slip and slides and everything, but you could still do stuff. It's not like we're all, decrepit and everything, but it'd be a lot of fun. I don't think they'll ever do it because demographics and CBS wants to get the crowd, the younger crowd that's brought in by younger players, and they want to see the showmances and all the stuff I had to deal with. But having said that, Mitch, that would be a lot of fun if they did it. Crosstrack, thank you. Yeah, no, it's strictly because of COVID. I would have been there in a heartbeat otherwise, but I just can't do it, and it kills me. Such a fantastic charity. All right, Austin saying, what's your opinion on the second final eviction on Big Brother season 22? Are you talking about the one where Cody sent Nicole home and kept Enzo? If that's the case, I am perfectly fine with it. I think I've talked before. In fact, I talked about before my season that that I wanted to play the game analytically. I didn't want to get into a situation like Cody did, where he took Derek, which was kind of the emotional choice, and left Victoria, sent Victoria home. That was in season 16, and it cost him the victory. And I got to say, I don't know. Once Cody won the final competition and he was deciding who to take the final two, I think he would have won with either one of them. I don't think it would have mattered. I think the only way Cody wasn't going to win was if Nicole had won that final competition, which is where they were doing the answering the questions with the record albums and things like that. If she had won that and she had drugged Cody to the final two instead of him dragging her or Enzo, would she have had a chance? I still don't know if she would have had a chance, but it would have been closer. At least she would have had an argument that he was only there because she chose to take him there. Once he won that and whoever he drug, I think he was going to win. But if he had taken Nicole instead of Enzo, it could have been closer. I don't know if it still would have been a unanimous decision. So I think Cody, logically and analytically, he made the right decision taking Enzo. And on a purely personal level, we saw how much it meant to Enzo just to make it to the final two. That was a huge deal for that guy. And I know for his family, the extra money was probably a huge help as well. He sold crayons, so give the guy a little second place money and he'll be happy. And the fact that Nicole had already won the whole thing. So if someone was going to have to finish in third place, it did break my heart. It did not break my heart that it was Nicole versus Enzo, because she's already won. She's already a champion no matter what. So send her home. It was the more analytical decision to do so. It meant so much for Enzo, and Cody deserved the victory, and he got the victory. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with the way it turned out, Austin. That was an exciting night. There were a lot of nights in Big Brother 22 that were a little too predictable, in my opinion. It's just the way it goes sometimes. But having said that, that finale night was kind of fun. Now we're talking about Big Brother, so let me mention something to y'all. I was sitting there thinking about what's going to happen next season. I assume it's all going to be newbies next season, right? If they want to bring back a vet, I'm not going to argue. But as far as I know, it probably would be all newbies and everything else. Certainly not going to be a whole bunch of all-stars. So I'm just wondering a couple of things. Now, what could they do to make it a little bit different? Make the drama that much more exciting. And I've talked about one or two of these before. I'm not sure if I've talked about all of them. I've mentioned that I want to see more punishments for the have-nots. Instead of just making you eat slop and take cold showers, which doesn't really seem to faze people the way it used to. It almost seems like, well, I don't know, slop was pretty bad this season because they changed the recipe, I've heard. But instead of just doing have-nots for that, do something more to impact their social game. Like say, while you're a have-not, you can't go in the backyard. You can't hang around the pool. You can't sit in a patio and shoot the bull with everyone else. You're stuck indoors. You'd have people fighting to not be have-nots if you restricted the backyard access. They may not do that because they're afraid someone would absolutely go bonkers and take someone out or, just go crazy in the house because it was such a relief whenever we got to go out in the backyard. But do that as part of a have-not, or give them curfews. Hey, if you're a have-not, you got to be in bed by 10 o'clock every night. You can't take time out to visit with people and work on their social game. You have to be in bed from certain hours to certain hours. There's things I think they could do that make the have-nots really miserable and have people competing a lot more to not be a have-not. Another thing I was thinking about, force people to work together even if they aren't in an alliance together. Bring back the old luxury competitions, or bring back food competitions where, yeah, Cody's working with all his people in the committee, but what if getting nice food suddenly it's dependent upon him working with Janelle and Ian, or just some different people on the other side of the equation, and some people get those luxuries and those foods and the other ones don't, or something. Suddenly you got people that are being forced to work with people that aren't necessarily part of an alliance. And I think that would create some relationships and force people to work together that maybe would stir things up a little bit more than we saw last season. And then the final thing I've thought about, we have have-nots, right? What if in addition to have-nots, we also had an upper class inside the house, and not HOH, but just 2 or 3 people to get picked every week to be the upper class. And maybe they get to sleep in a fancy room. They get massages at night, or they get to eat lobster. They get alcohol and the other people don't get alcohol. Something where you actually get rewarded. And maybe at the end of the week, you pick new people to be the upper class for the following week. Talking about some ways that you could create some animosity. If someone picks someone, do they pick their best friend because they want them to enjoy the experience as well? Or do they pick a person that for strategic reasons because they're afraid that person may put them on the block if they don't pick them? I think you could stir things up a little bit just by offering some people rewards or punishment and other people not, and do all kinds of stuff. So just thoughts from old boss Hogg as I think about what you could do to change up Big Brother a little bit as we go forward. Mitch Hammond, I lost 80 pounds last year, gained most of it back. Well, you know what? It's not a big deal when you stumble, as long as you get back up every time you do it. So yeah, you did great. Things happen. You did it once. That means you can do it again, right? That's all that matters. As long as have your faith that you can get right back on the track and do it once again. So congrats to you, my friend. God, that's pretty good. In fact, that's damn good. So congratulations, Mitch. 80 pounds is a lot. All right, let's see. Do you have a cowboy hat collection? Oh, Caden. Mitch, I know CBS wants young, good-looking people. They could have taken some old, good-looking people, right? Yeah. We all fill our own particular slot in that show, and you're right. They want some young, good-looking people for the showmances and everything else. Crosstrack saying it's so much fun to watch clowns and pies on live feeds. I bet it was. I had fun doing it as well. But I'm sure as soon as we found out what the punishment was going to be that week, I would have volunteered. Even if I knew I was hitting myself in the face the whole time, I would have raised my hand and said, it involves pies and putting it in people's faces. I'm game. I would have thrown that. Well, I wouldn't have, but I was not unhappy to be part of that particular week, throwing those pies everywhere. It was a lot of fun. All right, so Caden, get back to that question. Do you have a cowboy hat collection? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've got a lot more cowboy boots than I have cowboy hats. I have a dozen or so boots that I rotate around a little bit. Cowboy hats, I really just have a few of them. A few straw hats, a few felt hats. For those of you who don't know, I actually wanted a felt hat you typically wear during the wintertime. And you don't wear them indoors normally, but I'm making an exception for the show because I don't want to do the show outside. But normally you wear felt hats in the wintertime. You wear straw hats in the summertime. In the Big Brother house, I was going to take two hats with me. I was going to take this one, and I've got a white straw hat that I wear a lot in the summer. But unfortunately, when you show up, all your clothing is evaluated. Anything that has trademarks on it, logos, I guess. There's very few exceptions on the logos in terms of what and y'all are familiar with that. But there's a lot of restrictions on what you can and can't wear. There's certain clothing that really messes with the cameras, like real thin pinstripes or something that has too many patterns. I guess it messes the cameras up on autofocus, or I don't know. There's technical people who can tell you a lot more than me, but you can't do that. There's also a lot of like white colors really tend to wash you out if you have that. And it turns out this straw hat that I was planning to wear in the house, just like a giant white beacon on my head. Whenever the cameras, I guess they tested it, and it just would screw up the cameras. You couldn't really see facial features, anything else. It would just mess up because it was too bright when the lights were hitting on it. So I only had one hat while I was in the house, and it worked out fine. It probably was for the better anyway. But yeah, no, I don't have nearly as many cowboy hats as I do cowboy boots, because I don't wear them quite as often. And when I do, I can just wear the same ones over and over again. But no, I do have straw and I do have felt, and I love wearing them. It just kind of represents my heritage and the state and everything else. So I was happy to wear them inside the house, and I don't wear them every day. Y'all don't think I don't have a horse parked in the front yard, and I'm not doing that. But yeah, I've got a few cowboy hats. Megan said, I loved seeing Enzo so happy. I did too. Oh, Enzo was so much fun in that house. I just loved cheering him on. There's a couple of moves I wish he'd made. From his game plan, maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't have. But from a viewer standpoint, there are a couple of moves I would have loved to see him make, because it would have made everything a little bit more exciting. But that's all right. He finished in second, so I'm not griping too much. Parker said, I hope they make all the brand new challenges and get rid of have-nots entirely, and did what they did in the UK, normal budget versus luxury budget. Yeah, but that would be kind of interesting. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind as well, talking about getting rid of all the challenges. I just got through watching Big Brother Australia this summer. I just got through a few months ago. But watch Big Brother Australia. Some of the challenges they had some cool challenges that are similar to what we do in Big Brother Canada and US. But they also had some challenges that were just fun. And the most basic little challenges, like one, they had, 6 cardboard boxes, big size boxes. And people in groups of 2 would have to get underneath the cardboard boxes. They had little air holes to breathe in. And the longer they stayed in that hole, if you lifted the cardboard box or you came out of the box, you were eliminated, until finally there were just 2 people left. And they sat in that box for 8 hours or something, a long time. And they received all kinds of bonus dinners and fancy stuff and everything. But it was nothing more than just cardboard boxes there inside. And you hear them talking and people trying to sleep, and they're all cramped up and everything. Those are the kind of just basic little challenges. They're still fun to watch, still fun to see how people handle the pressure and the strategy and everything else. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Angie saying that bit worked for Memphis to go to bed early. Yeah, Memphis, love them or hate them, whatever. Memphis had a whole different strategy of go to bed early, try not to get involved in too much of the drama, and just let it all fall where it may, and just stay away from it. And then towards the end, he came in and he formed the wise guy. He formed 2 wise guys. So he tried to play the game more towards the end, but in the beginning, he just avoided all the drama. And there's something to be said for that. For me, it seems like every time I tried to go to bed early, someone was waking me up to tell me there was drama going on. I had that happen when Christy and Mickey started fighting back and forth. Oh, it was horrible. And they came in, they're waking me up saying, oh, they're all throwing your name out there and all that. The night right before Kat and I were both on the block, when Kat found out that I was potentially trying to go in with Tommy and Christy and Nick and all them, she came in, she woke me up. She was upset as well. Every time I tried to go to bed early, there was always shouting and arguing going on. So maybe if I was up in the HOH room, I could avoid it. But downstairs, you hear everything going on, and I couldn't just stay in bed. So yeah, but now Memphis played a good game of trying to just disassociate himself from a lot of the drama and let people create animosity with each other instead. Caden saying, I couldn't stay in a cardboard box for 8 hours. That would be tough. I got to say, a lot of it probably depends on who you're in that cardboard box with, right? Some people are probably a lot more preferable than others. But if you got fancy dinners on the line, or maybe safety inside that house, you do what you got to do sometimes. But yeah, it was kind of fun seeing who was going to break first. Brian saying that was Dan's strategy, lay low until late in the game. There's a few people who've done that. Nicole and Franzel kind of said that's what her gameplay was this season, of not win a lot of competitions, lay a little bit low, let other people do things. But no, Dan played a great game, and but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that strategy. Here's the key, though: if you're going to lay low, you better hope at the end of that season that you can win some competitions and prove that you were laying low and prove that you controlled your own fate. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, there's going to be people accusing you of just riding coattails of other people, of not doing enough to own your own game. And so it's a little bit like Enzo, I think, and a little bit like Nicole as well, Franzel, where if you lay too low and you don't win enough things and you rely too much on someone else, and then that someone else makes it to the final two with you, it makes it hard to win. I think Holly in our season faced a little bit of that as well. Holly played a masterful game, but it was behind the scenes, and a lot of people didn't recognize it, especially because a lot of people who were already on jury weren't seeing all little behind the scenes things that were going on. They were only seeing these little clips of who was winning competitions every week, which was Mickey for the most part. And so when it came time for those two, Holly didn't get enough credit for the game that she played because of that. And so you've got to be careful when you're laying low. I think it can get you a long way into the game. I just don't know that it can always win the game for you. Mitch is saying, let's see. Mitch is saying, are you allowed to say what slop really is? Looks like oatmeal to me. Yeah, Mitch, I can say. I just don't know exactly. I'll tell you this. It's oats and it's protein powder. I mean, I think there may be some other things in there, some vitamins, whatever. There was a list that we had showing the exact ingredients so that, if you were sensitive to glutens or whatever, you would know. So we saw the whole ingredients. I just don't remember what it was now, but basically it's oats and it's protein powder. There's no flavorings. There's nothing to give it any taste whatsoever. So it's just the most bland tasting thing you could imagine. And I've said before, it's not so much that it tastes horrible. It doesn't taste horrible. It just tastes like nothing. But it's also the fact that while you're on slop, that's all you're on. Other than condiments, pickles and olives and things like that, you can't eat anything else. So it just, you eat a whole lot of slop and that just sit on your stomach and make you miserable, which we saw in this past season, or do you? I would have flavored. I tried it a few times and I flavored it up with syrup and some things like that. It wasn't too bad. It just wasn't great. Yes, it definitely is nasty, Caden. Now, Big Brother Canada, it's even worse. I don't know what they put in there. Theirs up there is green. So they have some different ingredients and it looks miserable. It may be food coloring, but that's all it'd take, or seaweed powder or something. But it looks miserable. Now, for those of you who don't know, there were slop options. If you're intolerant to gluten, or we had like soy slop and gluten-free slop. We had some different options that were kept in the storage room if you needed that. I don't think anyone did. We only had slop for a few weeks, but there were different variations or different combinations of slop if anyone wanted it. I heard it tasted like oatmeal. Ben Morrison's asking, yeah, unflavored oatmeal, completely unflavored oatmeal. And the protein powder mixed in with it just gave it a little more of a pasty type flavor or taste as well. And Chicky D saying I'd be eating pickles the whole entire week. Me too. Pickles and olives, and I think I could live for quite a while. I'd be all right with that. So let's see. Did they have Ghirardelli chocolate slop? Yeah. Hey, if it was chocolate, I may have tried some slop anyway. So tofu is better than slop. I don't have any problem with tofu. Tofu's fine as long as it's mixed with something else. David Manna saying, did you get to keep your comic book or your HOH robe? Yes and no. Yeah, I got my comic, which was cool. For those of you who don't know, at the end of the season, we aren't allowed to take anything out of the house that we didn't come into the house with. So all of our costumes, everything that you see us wearing during the season, I packed it in my suitcase thinking, I'll pick what I want to take home. Now, if it had anything to do with Big Brother logos or competitions or anything else, it was pulled out of my suitcase as soon as I was evicted, before I actually made it back to my sequester spot. But with that being said, a month or so later, we all got little care boxes, memorabilia of things that meant things to us during the season. I got my comic book. I did not get my HOH robe, which would be kind of cool. But I got my comic book. I got my key. I got my luggage tag. I got my bottles that we used all while we were in the house. I got a few things. What else? I got a T-shirt with all of our artwork of all of our faces on it, and a few things here. A lot of the costumes that we wore. I got my lederhosen from Slip and Slide, my BB comic, or my Haunting of Caitlin Herman, my orange shirt that says BB Forced or something. So we got a lot of cool stuff. It was neat. But no, I didn't get the HOH robe, but I got a lot of other stuff, which was kind of neat. All right, imagine having have-not slop with syrup, tomato sauce, or cream. It would mix so good, Carl. Definitely syrup. Cream, maybe. Yeah. It wasn't horrible. It's just, again, it's the idea. It's not just how it tastes, but that you can't have anything else with it. Hannah Stonehouse. I saw Nicole's doing a giveaway for Mulan. I saw that. I think Enzo, I think he did an interview with her, and he signed an Enzo, or he signed a Mulan, and they're doing that as a giveaway, probably for the Give the Kids a World Hearts of Reality fundraiser. But yeah, hey, I'll put up Orwell against Mulan any day of the week. But no, that's cool doing. So I'm sure Enzo. I think Enzo packed up Mulan. I think he deflated Mulan and took it out the house with him. And hopefully he got to keep it. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Caden, the robe definitely would have been nice to keep. But hey, I didn't get the choice of what I could or couldn't get. It was just cool to be able to wear that robe. When I won that HOH, I knew I'd made my mark at that time, putting on the robe just to be wearing it. I really wanted to wear that 24 hours a day. I wanted to just wear it downstairs, wear it everywhere, have the key around. I wore the key around my neck all the time, but I wanted to just wear that robe everywhere. But I didn't want to rub it in people's faces, because when you're HOH, it means you don't have protection the following week. So you have to be kind of sensitive about it. But yeah, I was pretty proud to be wearing that robe. The other thing, we had the shower upstairs. I think I've said this before, but I didn't take a shower in the HOH room ever until I won HOH, because I just felt like I was going to jinx it. I said, no, I'm not going to take a shower there unless I've earned the right to take a shower up in that room. So other people are taking showers whenever they wanted to up there with permission of the HOH. I said, no, I'm waiting. So that first night when I won HOH, I got my room. I went and showered in the big fancy shower, and it was glorious. It was great. I just wanted. In fact, I may have done a little singing while I was in the shower, because you could do it up there and not get in trouble. Sometimes they'd stop you, but under your breath in the shower. I was probably not under my breath. I was having fun doing it. So Enzo was not allowed to take out the pictures from the wall he was always looking at. I don't know, Paula. My guess would be probably not, but maybe he got them sent to him later. I don't know. That was. All-Stars is kind of a unique season. They maybe have had some slightly different rules than we had. So I don't know. And I've never asked him or Nicole or David or anyone else about the specifics. But my guess is he probably did not get to choose what he took out of that house. Ben Morrison saying, how big is the backyard? We tried to measure it once. I don't know. If I had to pick, I'd say maybe 40 feet across by 100 feet long or something. I was guessing. I don't know how accurate I am or not. It's far enough that we could jog from one end to the other, and it didn't feel too confining. And you could walk around the yard, and it would take a few minutes to get around the yard. It seemed big when we first got in the house, and I looked outside. I thought, well, this is huge. This is a lot bigger than it looks like on TV. I guess it really was. And I gotta say, that artificial grass they use out there, when it's hot, it seems like it's a really big yard, because you would take a couple of steps and say, no, putting my sandals on, this isn't going to work for me. But yeah, it's a decent sized yard. And when you're sitting there, and y'all can't see it as much on TV, but when you're sitting in the patio chairs and things like that, just the fact that you can see airplanes flying overhead, you can hear car traffic from the road nearby, you can see the very tops of some trees. So it just makes you feel like you're back in the world that you don't get while you're inside the house. So that was always neat. It could have been the tiniest little yard. It could have been huge. I know Big Brother Canada has a little outdoor section. It just seems tiny. It's probably not more than 20 by 20 or something, but it doesn't matter. It's still nice, I'm sure, to get to go outside. Oh, wow. 7:55. I'm talking away, but we'll shut this down here in just a second. All right, let's see what else. Enzo is our meow meow for the day. Oh, Enzo, meow meow Enzo. I guess I had forgotten he had that whole little meow meow saying his first season. It'd been a while since I'd seen his season, but yeah, Enzo the meow meow. Caden, nothing wrong with singing in the shower. Well, no, not indeed. I've told y'all before as well, some of y'all, when they wake us up in the morning, we get 3 songs to listen to, just this kind of wake up music while people are changing out batteries, things like that. And I would lots of times try to time it so I could go take my shower while that music was playing. Sometimes I'd sing along with the music if I recognized it. Lizzo, they played Lizzo a lot, so good as hell. There's some songs I would sing along with while I was in the shower. But sometimes if I didn't recognize the songs, I just kind of plug my ears up and I'd sing my own Elvis Presley or Oak Ridge Boys, whatever deep sounded sounds I wanted to sing. I just sing away in the shower. So at least I had just a little bit of time where I wasn't getting called out for doing that. So yeah, I've been told before that I have a fantastic shower singing voice, which take that for what it's worth. You know, it's like saying you have a great face for comedy. Yeah, that could be good, that could be bad, but I love singing in the shower. So yes, indeed. Can you hear people on the outside, not just the people yelling? Not really, Paula. Every once in a while, maybe you would hear some, because this is on a CBS lot, and so every once in a while, maybe you'd hear some shout or something, but you never could really make out what it was. And for the most part, you wouldn't even hear that. Every once in a while, we'd hear, like we were there over the 4th of July, and at one point we could hear some music playing from somewhere, very light. You could barely make it out, but you could hear some music from either on the lot or houses nearby. I don't even know, but we were trying so hard. We were just sitting there saying, oh, just turn it up just a little bit so we can hear the song and you know, hum along under our breaths or whatever. So every once in a while you can hear, but not really. It really is the wall yellers is the only thing that you can hear for certain. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't with that. Ben saying, how do they ask you questions in the diary room? Ben, it's very open-ended. I know some people said, oh, it's scripted. They tell you what to say and on. No, they don't. They don't. Now it's open-ended. There's lots of things of Cliff. What do you, we saw you having a conversation just a second ago with Tommy. What are you thinking as you talk to Tommy about this? What's going through your mind? And so I'd say, yeah, well, I just got through talking to Tommy. And sometimes there'd be a little direction about, hey, you talked to him earlier today, but why can you tell us as though you just had the conversation with him? And so yeah, I just got through talking to Tommy, and it's I don't know if I trust him or not. And then there's little things like that where you would talk about it, and then they would say, well, what are you thinking about? How's that going to impact this decision on the evictions or something? And so they kind of ask you a lot of questions. But here's the thing. They would ask so many different questions. Sometimes some diary room sessions were quick. Other times they were long. But sometimes they would ask so many questions so that you really didn't know what they were getting at. You know, sometimes they're privy to conversations that you don't have. So they would ask you everything so that you wouldn't say, oh, why are they asking me questions about Tommy? Is there something I should be aware of? So they would ask a whole lot, and then later in the week, I guess they'd take whatever matched up with their storytelling and all that for the episode and do that. And there's some times where, Ben, where they'd say things like, that sounds great, Cliff, but y'all know me, I can talk forever. They'd say, that's great, Cliff, but it's only an hour-long episode. Can you tell us everything you just said, but can you say it in about 30 seconds? I'd say, all right, yeah, sure. So I'd summarize it all, and I'd say it quick, and then, and so there was a lot of that where they're trying to get you to redo it for their little sound bites and things like that. But beyond that, it's very open-ended. Is it the producers talking to you or Big Brother? It's the producers. Don Woolman is the voice of Big Brother, and his voice is so recognizable. But no, they're producers that we never saw their faces. It was purely just a voice that we would hear walking you through, and it wasn't always the same producer. It was different people sometimes, and I don't know how that works. No, I don't know anything about behind the scenes, but you just go in there and they'd say, hey, Cliff, how you doing? Doing all right. What do you need to know? And we'd get into it. All right, let's see. I'm going to shut it down here in just a second, guys. For those, if I missed any questions, hey, send it to me on Instagram. I am happy to answer them all, and we're going to do it next week as well. All right, so let's see. Do the questions I ask you ever make you stop and think, why are they asking me that? Yeah, sometimes, Dolores. But again, you always take it with a grain of salt, because I was always in there thinking, are they asking me this question because it's something I should know because something's going on I'm not aware of? Or are they asking me the question because nothing's going on, but they just want me to get paranoid because it's going to make for more excitement if I'm uncertain and all that? So you never know. And so after a while you say, oh whatever. I can only rely on what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from the other house guests. I can't start falling for stuff that may be based on questions, things like that, because otherwise you'll just drive yourself crazy. It's so easy to get paranoid in that house already. I mean, there's people in that house that if you went into the diary room more than someone else on a particular day, they immediately say, What's going on with Cliff? He was in that diary room 4 times today, and the rest of his own only went in twice. Does he have a secret power we don't know about? Or has America awarded him something? Or is he plotting some big something going on? So the tiniest little thing can create paranoia. So yeah, if you're inside the diary room and someone asks you a question, it's just too easy to start getting spun up on everything. So I tried personally not to do that. And Laura Lance, I love how Big Brother Australia talks to them. I did too. It's they're a little more just, I don't know, relaxed and just kind of having fun, joshing with them and everything else. All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down at this point in time. It's 8:01. Thank y'all so much. I always have so much fun spending my Monday evenings with y'all. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for giving me a time. It's just so much more fun when I get to actually answer questions and rather than just sitting there talking all on my own. So thank you for the questions. We're going to do it again next week. So get your questions ready. Anything else I can help with? I was going to talk about a few other things, Amazing Race and some other things. We'll do it again. And I am doing, just a FYI, I'm doing the Amazing Race recap. So check out Thursday morning. I'll drop another recap episode. They're just 15 minutes long. So it's a quick little deals. If you are watching Amazing Race, you got to start. It's a lot of fun. But guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. If you aren't already signed up for my YouTube channel, please do so. If you do that and turn on notifications, if I drop the occasional morning Cliff Notes where I just talk about whatever, then you'll get notifications. But in the meanwhile, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I will see y'all next Monday. SKD 143. I love my wife, love my kids, and I love every one of y'all out there. Just so much fun interacting with other Big Brother fans. So y'all stay safe. Social distance. We'll talk beforehand, but if not, have a happy Thanksgiving to all of y'all. Cheers, guys. Y'all have a great one. Bye.